So Germany, due to its large bureaucracy, managed to get itself in a conundrum. Now, this is a very old article. It's from 2005. So I think they probably resolved the issue since then. However, I do want to point out just how stupid bureaucracy is and how it makes things more difficult than they're supposed to be. Basically, the way things used to be is that you would get a job and you pay very little taxes, right? I think in America only a sales tax used to exist, like back in the day. So think about this: you have a job, and if you get a lot of money, you can decide to put like 10% of your income in a savings account, so that when you don't have a job, you will have some money to be able to sustain yourself until you find new employment. And in the meantime, you also have family members. Like, it encourages people to have children so that they have large families. And if someone doesn't have money, they can rely on their relatives to support them for a little while. It also encourages people to give to charity, because now you have more money, so you can donate to the needy. And this was the mentality. It's like, it's your money, you decide what to do with it. People who are smart are going to be able to pitch in a little bit every month and have some money for rainy days. But now apparently the government decides that no, people are stupid. People don't know what to do with their money. Let us, people in the government who are far more wise and more intelligent than you, manage your money for you. So whenever you go to work every month, a chunk of your earnings is going to be taken and placed into welfare. So a lot of people, when they have free shit, started abusing the system. And they're like, well, if I get welfare from other stupid people that work, why do I even need to go to work? I'll just sit my ass down, do nothing, and just get money from the government. So the government looks at this and says, all right, like this is not a good thing. Like, the welfare should be a safety net. It shouldn't be so that elephants get to sleep in it. It should be just for people who fall to be able to be caught so that they can get back up again. The communists used to call people who were unemployed and relying on welfare social parasites. In fact, in my country, it was heavily frowned upon not to have a job. Borderline illegal. Basically, the police, if they would have found you within working hours outside, they would start taking you to the section and starting asking you, like, why don't you work? And then they will apply a correction, as they used to say, in order to make you more willing to find a job. But that was during communism, right? So they understood that welfare needs to be only for the people who really, really can't get a job. Like, let's say a blind person that's also in a wheelchair, right? Because even a blind person can find a job peeling some potatoes or something. Or being behind the kiosk giving information to passerbys. Like, the communists were really well at finding people to fit a job. But the point that I'm trying to make, right, in case of Germany, back in 2005, they realized that, all right, so we should pass a law that if someone is offered the job while unemployed and they refuse to take it, they lose welfare. Seems reasonable, right? Like, it seems logical. But the problem is that in Germany, prostitution is legal. Like, they actually have brothels where you give your coochie up for, financial remuneration. Unlike many other countries, in Germany, this is a actual job, an actual business. So what happens is that some women, back in 2005, which were unemployed and they were getting welfare, they were offered jobs from the sex industry, from brothels. And if the woman decided not to go for the job, then all of a sudden she loses her welfare. So my question is, like, wouldn't it have been better if women were able to not pay the welfare and just put money for some rainy days from their own personal wage, so that they don't get into the situation where this can happen? I generally ask myself, like, a lot of people say my country is poor. If you look at the wages that Romanians make, they're not that small compared to Western countries. The tax is just abnormally high. I did a calculation once. You pay a lot in taxes, like around 65% of what you make goes for tax. If you add the VAT tax, if you add the tax that they put on gas, when you put all of these taxes together, you end up paying 65% of what you earn per month. So my question is, like, if people were to get like this 65% in their own pocket and then decide what to do with it, would it not be better? Like, why do you need the middleman? Why do you need the government to collect taxes for shit that people can just do themselves? You know, like, I understand that you need a government for police. I understand you need a government for firefighters. I understand you need a government for the military. But I don't understand, like, why the government needs to provide, you know, free education. Like, what is this, like, private schools are a bad thing? They don't exist anymore. Like, you can't, you know, send your kid to a private school. Or, you know, things like free healthcare or something. Like, what? People can't just have an insurance? They can't go to a private company to get an insurance? What if I don't want to? What if I'm the type of person that really wants to live hard, and when my time comes, and I generally don't want to pay anything? You know, like, what about these people? Whatever happened with my money, my choice, you know? So my point is that you're constantly going to see, like, this ridiculousness happen in bureaucratic states. Now, what happened in Germany in 2005 is just so ridiculous that anyone who understands it gets to laugh. But if you look at small legislation, especially in the financial sector, you will notice time and time again that this happens because of the vast amount of laws and the huge number of regulations that you have to go. You're going to have things that are absolutely ridiculous and absurd. And in the case of Germany, while the intention initially was, all right, let's give people welfare, and then the second intention was, all right, people who refuse a job shouldn't get welfare. Well, you end up in the predicament that the sex industry in your country is a respectable, recognized establishment, and if someone is offered to put up their coochie for sale and they say no, they lose their welfare, which, you know, again, is their money. Like, they work, they paid in the system. So now they need to get something in return. But what's even more interesting is apparently they couldn't regulate it because they couldn't tell from a legal point of view the difference between a brothel and a bar. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's so easy. Like, okay, you just make a law where you say establishments that force people to have sex should be, you know, not considered as part of this program. Like, if someone doesn't want to become a hookah, a lady of the night, a woman of low moral fibers, then she should still get welfare. By the way, speaking of brothels, you know what I found really, really fascinating? Like, at least in America, the left constantly, like, berates Christians for being too puritanical, for being against the LGBTs. And recently I read some Romanian history, and what I found was quite interesting. Like, after World War I, Romania was highly religious, incredibly so, to the point where you could say it was kind of like a theocracy, like the church had a lot of power in politics and decision making, and yet we had brothels. And in those brothels, you also had, like, lesbian sex. Like, as a man, you could have more women, you know, perform different activities in front of you if you are so inclined. So the church, you know, was tolerating this. Like, they were definitely, you know, encouraging people not to partake in these extracurricular activities. They were definitely frowning against it, but they never criminalized them. They never went like, no, brothels shouldn't exist. No, brothels were a thing in Romania. Only when the communists came, only when the socialists came, did they outlaw brothels, and did they decide that gay people should be criminalized. Like, you actually were sent to prison if they found out you were gay during communism. So to me, it's really funny when I see all these LGBT activists with Che Guevara t-shirts, when every single socialist nation around the world criminalized gay people, and at the same time in some other nations, like, the church had no problem with prostitution and debauchery. I mean, yeah, they had a moral issue, like they would tell people don't do it, but they never tried to, like, outlaw it. They never actually tried to step on it and say, no, this is too bad, it's unchristian or whatever. You know, like, this is really funny. Amusing. Yeah, what can I say? There was also that girl from The March of My Life with La Hentai, bro. La Hentai, you know, like that. I believe it's La Gente. You probably know what I'm talking about. And she was like this bald chick, and she had like, she claimed to be LGBT, but she had the Cuban flag on her, and I'm like, well, they didn't really like gay people in Cuba, you know? Like, you're complaining about America while having the Cuban flag, a nation that didn't like the LGBTs. It's like, I never understand these people. Anyway, I'm going to finish ranting now. You know, I'm trying to pull a fast on you. I'm pulling a fast on you because, you know, I need money, so I need to keep talking for 10 minutes to give you more commercials. This is what I'm doing, you know? I'm like a snake oil salesman. But at least I'm honest. I'm telling you the behind the scene, the secrets of the V-long rant. I'm also kidding. Sometimes I just want to get these things off my chest because it pisses me off. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.